Alrighty, hello everybody. It is Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific. I try to make these every week to just look at current events or what's going on in cannabis or different topics for both people in my program with outside our program. I founded and run DOPE CFO. We are the national leaders, in my opinion, in cannabis accounting and tax. We have a very, very deep network of over 500 what I call DOPE CFO VIPs. Every single state, every single skill set from attorneys, CPAs, enrolled agents, bookkeepers, CFOs, etc. And collectively, I think we are the biggest network by far in the U.S. and sharing knowledge daily with each other. If you're an accountant and you want more info on our program, check us out at dopecfo.com, or you can always message me here. Today we're going to look at some real estate issues, and let me just dive in. So there's a lot of issues to think about on the real estate side. So depending if you're a client or if you are the actual company, real estate's a massive part of the industry. So whether you're starting a manufacturing plant or a dispensary or a indoor farm, outdoor farm, you're going to need a lot of real estate. And so your choices are to rent or to own. So first off, let's talk about owning. If you own the property and also going to be owning the cannabis company, since cannabis is federally illegal, also operating companies have all kinds of potential liabilities you can be sued for, etc. So generally speaking, and this applies to any industry, and you can see it everywhere, whether you go look at a Walgreens on the corner or a farm or whatever, oftentimes the real estate company is separate from the operating entity, and even if you own both of them. And a big reason for that is asset protection. You want to separate those things. So if someone sues the operating company, your real estate company is safe. So if you own a $4 million piece of real estate that's housing a farm that's still getting started up and has lower value, you probably want to keep that separate right off the bat. Now, if you're say, I saw this happen in Bend, Oregon, say you own a strip mall and you want to put a dispensary in there. So this guy opened up allowed a dispensary to come in his strip mall, and they spent a ton of money getting the place open. And the banker drove by like, what the heck? There's a dispensary there. We don't allow. They had a mortgage on the property, and so they shut it down. So they wasted a ton of money opening up a dispensary when the bank wasn't on board. So if you are a real estate owner and you want to rent to a cannabis operator, you better make sure your bank's on board with that if you have a bank and a mortgage. So that's a couple of biggies right off the bat. Also, many people are trying to set up multi-entity structures, not just for asset protection, but to beat 280E. And so you may set up a real estate company, equipment company, an IP company, and think, okay, this will get us out of 280E. We talk a lot about Harborside. You can go to our dopecfo.com blog and look at Harborside. You can also look at, if you are on this page right now and you click, I believe it's either live or videos or something, you will find all our prior Facebook Lives. We just did one recently on Harborside where they lost on almost every issue raised, including having multiple entities. So be super careful. The IRS and the courts look at this as they're looking at the trader business. So trader business has nothing to do with entities or structures. And so if you got your real estate company here and your operating company here, from a 280E perspective, they're looking at that as a trader business. They don't care that your dispensary is here on top and the real estate's underneath. They're two legal entities. As a trader business, that's pretty much one trader business. So 280E will apply to all of it. You can start separating accounting in those two and run into trouble creating phantom income between the two, and both of them get subject to 280E. So be super careful on that. We've done other talks on entity structures, C corps versus LLCs, etc. That's a little bit of a different topic. So then we've done those. So you can check further lives on those. Um, Buying versus leasing a property. That has almost nothing to do with cannabis. That topic. Whenever you do any kind of deal, retail, a farm, oh, thank you, Laura. Can you hear me better now? If you so if your client is wanting to, and we'll see everything in the cannabis industry. Sometimes we'll get clients that own a bunch of property and they're like, hell yeah, let's open up some cannabis dispensaries or farms or whatever. Other times people are going to look to buy their own farm. As a matter of fact, the High Five Farms, where I worked in the Portland area, they bought the farm and took a big $2 million mortgage out on the place a long time ago. They have since gone under. The mortgagee ended up taking over the property, so be careful on that. They had a really good product and brand, but they didn't have enough revenues, and profits got scarce. In Oregon, we had a price crash, so you've see this in many states. The product is confined to the state, so we can't sell it in other states. So if there's a glut of production, you might have a price crash, and people without deep pockets cannot survive that. Um, but you can go in and buy the property if you want. I mean, over the long term, I actually met some of the Home Depot founders were involved in that operation, and they told me, where they made their big money in Home Depot over the last 30, 40 years was real estate, buying and owning their locations, and having massive value as that as well. So anyone can. There's all kinds of strategies when you open a business. When my wife and I opened a retail shop in Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon's been a very hot real estate market. We bought the building at the time. We only had the business for like 3 years, and we sold it to our key employee, and they moved it over to. They had another location about a mile away. They moved the business over. We sold the building for double in 3 years, and so we actually made more money on the real estate than we did on the business. So there's lots and lots of reasons to go into the real estate or not. If your business is amazing and you don't, be very, very careful, making sure to tie up rent for a long time. I remember when my boss in 2004, we bought the real estate for a Walgreens, and they did the lease, but they made darn sure they had extensions on the lease for like 90 years. You want to tie it up as long as possible, because if that becomes very valuable, the owner of the real estate can say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna renew your lease on this dispensary," because with the dispensary, location's everything. And same with your farm. I mean, think if you opened up a farm and went for 10 years, and then the landlord said, "Oh, we're not gonna renew this lease." I mean, you can't just move a farm down the street. So the preach and preach, yes, Crystal. So that's another issue on pros and cons. So if I'm a business owner, I really don't want to be leasing if I don't have to. Um, for that very reason, I want to be able to control my destiny, and make sure that I can, make sure if I mean, the goal is opening a business is to have a very successful business, and so you got to be careful on that as well. Trying to think what other topics were we going to hit here. 280E. Again, whether you own the real estate or not, real estate's not going to get you out of 280E in any shape or form. So yeah, again, 280E applies to a trade or business and not a legal entity structure. So be careful on that as well. So I think if no one has any questions, we can talk about anything else. The markets are growing rapidly. I'm about to post. I'm a member of our DOPE CFO is a member of NCIA and very active in the industry. And I got a industry report today, 25 pages from BDS Analytics. I will be sharing that with my private group. So that's another. If you're Laura, Crystal, etc., if you're in the group, that'll be coming here in a little bit. Rachel, yeah, we're talking about renting or owning commercial real estate, dispensaries, farms. There's pros and cons for both sides of it. But yeah, if you start a farm, a manufacturing plant, retailer, whatever. If you own your real estate, you can control your destiny. But what's the downside? It costs a ton of money to buy a farm or to buy, if say you're in wherever, downtown Detroit, and you want to put a dispensary, yeah, you may spend $3 million on the real estate. Um, so you got to have deep pockets. So again, it goes back to being well funded in this industry. Everyone always wants to own real estate, but real estate's expensive right now in the U.S. Many markets are hot. Um, Interest rates are also starting to creep up. Mortgage rates I know have gone up. That often now, if that happens, that could cool off the real estate market, and then there could be great times to buy. But buying and selling real estate is its own topic with many experts, and just be careful. Be careful on that. I always feel like if you can look at good long-term trends. So, for example, real estate in Oregon, we've been on a 20-year growth trend. It's not that hard to spot. People are leaving the Southwest, they're running out of water and all kinds of other issues, and they're moving northwards to where there's more water and better lifestyle. And so you can identify that trend. There's ups and downs, but it's generally going up. Um, so you can identify those kind of mega trends in real estate and kind of stake your claim. But if you're another example, I know Miami, Florida. Real estate's hot right now, but what's happening to Miami? The oceans are rising. It's built on pretty soft ground, and I would not want to be investing in Miami real estate. I think if you go out 50 years, it might be underwater. And guess what's going to happen then? The real estate's going to be worth zero on the beach. So the beach might be inland 10 miles that you might want to buy there. So anyway, those are my thoughts on real estate and cannabis, and I will see you guys next week.